He bought a smart pet, not knowing it would be an alien girl he'd have to care for. The neon signs of New Zenith's alien district buzzed and flickered in the perpetual twilight, casting their garish glow across the rain-slicked streets. Tristan Emers, dressed in his signature black attire, trudged through the bustling marketplace, his boots splashing through puddles that reflected the technicolor chaos above. The collar of his leather jacket was turned up against the constant drizzle, more out of habit than necessity. The environmental shields kept most of the rain at bay. "Screw it," he muttered, running a hand through his damp dark hair. "I need some company." The decision hadn't come easily. After 3 years of solo cargo runs between Earth and the outer colonies, the silence of his ship, the Iron Phoenix, had started to wear on him. He'd considered getting a crew, but the thought of dealing with other humans' drama made his head hurt. A pet seemed like the perfect compromise. The alien pet shop stood out among the gaudy establishments, its facade decorated with holographic projections of various exotic creatures. The sign read, "Stellar Companions" in both standard English and at least 5 alien scripts. Tristan hesitated at the entrance, watching the shifting images of what appeared to be everything from 6-legged felines to floating luminescent spheres. "Welcome, honored customer." A tall, spindly alien with iridescent scales greeted him as he stepped inside. "I am Raxil, proprietor of this humble establishment. How may I assist you today?" Tristan glanced around at the various enclosures, looking for something similar to Earth dogs, something intelligent but low maintenance. Raxil's multifaceted eyes gleamed. "Ah, I have exactly what you seek. Please follow me to our premium section." The alien led him past rows of conventional pets to a separate area marked Special Companions. Tristan's internal warning system started pinging, but curiosity got the better of him. "Here we are," Raxil announced, gesturing to what appeared to be an empty display room. "Our latest acquisition, a highly intelligent companion." Tristan was about to question the empty space when movement caught his eye. From behind a decorative partition emerged what he first thought was a hallucination. A humanoid female figure moving on all fours with an impossible grace. Her skin had a subtle lilac metallic sheen, and her long dark hair fell in straight curtains around her face. She wore a minimalist black outfit that left little to the imagination, and around her neck was a collar with a holographic tag. "What the fuck?" Tristan breathed, taking an involuntary step back. The woman, if that's what she was, looked up at him with striking blue eyes that held both intelligence and something else. Desperation? "This is a Nexian," Raxil explained smoothly. "They are renowned for their adaptability and companionship capabilities. She has voluntarily entered into a temporary companion contract." Tristan's mind reeled. "You're selling sentient beings as pets?" "Not selling," Raxil corrected. "Facilitating temporary companion contracts, the Nexian receives substantial compensation and the client gains a unique companion. Completely legal under coalition law." The woman maintained her position, but her eyes never left Tristan's face. There was something in that gaze that made his chest tight, a mixture of pride and barely concealed fear. "What's your name?" Tristan asked her directly. "Avala," she responded in perfect English, her voice carrying a musical quality that sent shivers down his spine. "And you're doing this willingly?" A slight smile curved her lips. "As willing as one can be when the alternative is starvation on a dying world." Tristan felt his jaw clench. He'd seen enough desperate situations in the outer colonies to recognize one when it was staring him in the face. "How much?" "For a standard 6-month contract, merely 50,000 credits, Raxil said smoothly. Tristan knew he was being played, knew this was probably a terrible idea, but he couldn't walk away. Not with those eyes watching him, holding a universe of unspoken stories. "I'll take her contract," he heard himself say. "But we're going to have a long talk about this arrangement." As he completed the transaction, Avala gracefully rose to her feet, moving with a fluid motion that reminded him she wasn't human, despite her appearance. The holographic tag on her collar flickered and updated with his information. "Your companion is ready," Raxil announced cheerfully. "May you have a mutually beneficial arrangement." Tristan looked at Avala, who now stood beside him with perfect posture, her head held high despite the circumstances. "Ready to go?" She nodded, and together they stepped out into the neon-lit streets of New Zenith, leaving Tristan to wonder what the hell he'd just gotten himself into. The Iron Phoenix's airlock hissed shut behind them, sealing out the neon chaos of New Zenith's streets. Tristan led Avala through the cargo ship's main corridor, hyper-aware of her graceful movements and the subtle clicking of her boots against the metal deck plates. "So," he began awkwardly, "you can drop the four-legged act now. We both know that was just for show." Avala straightened up, her movements fluid and natural. The holographic tag on her collar caught the ship's lighting, creating dancing patterns on the bulkhead. "Thank you," she said, her musical voice carrying a note of relief. "That position becomes quite uncomfortable after a while." Tristan tried not to stare at how the minimalist black outfit hugged her curves as she stretched. "Let's get you settled in. There's a spare cabin." "Actually," Avala interrupted, her blue eyes twinkling with amusement, "according to Nexian customs, a companion should stay close to their owner." She practically purred the last word. Tristan felt heat creep up his neck. "Look, about that contract, you're wondering if you've made a terrible mistake?" She moved closer, and he caught a subtle scent like starflowers and ozone. "Let me explain something about Nexians. We're empaths, touch telepaths to be precise. I can sense your discomfort and your attraction." Tristan backed up until he hit the corridor wall. That's quite a talent you kept hidden." "One of many," she smiled, revealing slightly pointed canines. "Our species evolved as companion creatures. We form deep bonds with those we choose to trust. The pet shop arrangement is unconventional, but it allows us to find suitable matches." "Matches?" Tristan's mouth went dry as she stepped even closer. "My people don't believe in the human concept of shame regarding physical attraction or intimacy. We celebrate such connections." Her fingers traced the collar of his jacket. "I chose you the moment you walked in. Tristan Emers. Your aura practically screams nobility and passion." He caught her wrist, gentle but firm. "This is moving very fast." "Is it?" She tilted her head. "I can feel your loneliness. 3 years alone in space? That's a long time to deny yourself connection." "You don't owe me anything," he insisted. "The contract is a formality." She pressed her palm against his chest, and suddenly he could feel her emotions. Curiosity, desire, and genuine interest. "I'm not acting out of obligation. Nagasians can't fake attraction. It's physically impossible for us, you know. We either feel it or we don't." Tristan's head spun with the implications. "So at the shop, I projected submission because it was expected. But I saw your reaction. The anger at thinking I was being coerced. The protective instinct. That's when I knew you were different." He released her wrist, and she immediately used the freedom to trace the line of his jaw. The touch sent electric shivers through his body. "This is crazy," he muttered. "Is it?" She leaned closer, her breath warm against his ear. "Or is it exactly what we both want?" The next few hours passed in a blur of sensation and discovery. Avala's empathic abilities made every touch exponentially more intense, creating feedback loops of pleasure that left them both breathless. They barely made it to his quarters, leaving a trail of discarded clothing along the way. Later, lying in his bunk with Avala curled against his side, Tristan stared at the ceiling and tried to process everything that had happened. Her lilac-tinted skin seemed to glow softly in the dim light. "You're thinking too hard," she murmured, tracing patterns on his chest. "This isn't exactly how I expected my day to go when I walked into that pet shop." She laughed, the sound like wind chimes. "Life rarely gives us what we expect. Sometimes it gives us what we need instead." "And what do you need, Avala?" She propped herself up on an elbow, her dark hair falling like a curtain around them. "A partner. Someone who sees me as an equal, not a pet or a possession. Someone who'll help me navigate this part of the galaxy while I figure out how to help my people." Tristan caught a flash of sadness through their newfound connection. "Tell me about your world." "Nexus is dying," she said softly. "Our sun is becoming unstable. We've been searching for new worlds, new allies. Some of us chose to become companions to learn about other species, to find potential havens for our people." "That's why you're really here? You're a scout?" She nodded. "Among other things, does that bother you?" He considered it. Actually, it makes me respect you more. But why not just approach the coalition directly?" "Politics," she wrinkled her nose. "Official channels are slow. We need real connections, real understanding between our peoples." "What better way than this?" Tristan pulled her closer, feeling protective. Well, you've got me now? We'll figure something out. I know we will, she smiled against his chest. I can feel your determination. It's one of the things I find most attractive about humans, your ability to face any challenge head-on. Speaking of challenges, he gestured to the collar she still wore. Can we get rid of that thing? Not yet, it's tied to the contract, but… She traced a finger down his sternum, sending shivers through him. We have 6 months to figure out a more permanent arrangement. 6 months? He grinned. I think we can come up with something before then. The artificial dawn cycle of the Iron Phoenix gradually illuminated Tristan's quarters, casting a warm glow over the tangled sheets. He woke to find Avala already alert, her blue eyes studying him with an intensity that made his pulse quicken. Your dreams are fascinating, she murmured, trailing her fingers along his arm. Humans have such vivid imaginations. Before Tristan could respond, the ship's comm system crackled to life. Incoming transmission from Coalition Port Authority, announced the AI. Tristan groaned, rolling out of bed. Duty calls, computer, route to my personal terminal. The holographic display materialized above his desk, revealing a stern-faced port official. Captain Emers, your departure clearance is pending review. We've detected an unregistered life form aboard. Avala appeared behind Tristan, still wearing her collar, but now dressed in one of his shirts. The official's eyes widened. Is that a Nexian companion contract? The man leaned closer to his screen. Those are highly regulated, Captain. You'll need to file additional paperwork and… Already submitted through Stellar Companions, Tristan interrupted. Check your records. While the official busied himself with his database, Avala pressed against Tristan's back, her touch sending waves of amusement and desire through their empathic connection. He struggled to maintain his professional demeanor. Ah, yes, here it is. The official frowned. However, there's an urgent cargo contract that's just been posted. Priority level Alpha, requiring immediate transport through the Crimson Sector. Tristan tensed. The Crimson Sector was notorious for pirate activity. What's the cargo? Medical supplies for the Outpost 7 colony. They're facing an epidemic. The pay is substantial. Avala's fingers tightened on Tristan's shoulders. Through their connection, he felt her concern warring with determination. We'll take it, Tristan said before he could second-guess himself. After the transmission ended, he turned to Avala. I know it's dangerous, but… She silenced him with a kiss that left him breathless. I can feel your noble intentions. It's very human of you. Is that a compliment? The highest, she smiled wickedly. Though your current thoughts are far from noble. The ship's AI interrupted again. Captain, 2 maintenance crews requesting permission to board. Standard pre-departure checks. Reality crashed back in. Shit, we need to figure out how to handle this. You mean how to present our relationship? Avala's expression turned thoughtful. The contract gives us flexibility. I can play whatever role makes you comfortable. That's just it. I'm not comfortable pretending you're a pet. He ran a hand through his hair. But I also don't want to put you at risk. Then let's find middle ground. She adjusted her collar, the holographic tag shimming. I'll maintain the companion contract appearance for official purposes, but we don't have to pretend it's something it's not. The maintenance crews arrived while they were still strategizing. To Tristan's surprise, Avala handled the situation with graceful efficiency, somehow managing to be both professional and subtly affectionate without raising eyebrows. The crews seemed to accept her presence as perfectly normal, though he caught a few envious glances thrown his way. Between inspections, they retreated to the galley. Tristan watched in fascination as Avala prepared a breakfast that looked Earth-standard but smelled exotic. Another hidden talent? Nexians are adaptable. She set a plate before him. We study the cultures we interact with, though I must admit, human cuisine is particularly interesting. Speaking of interesting, he sampled the food. It was delicious. How are we going to handle the Crimson Sector run? You mean besides the obvious solution of spending our transit time, finding creative ways to relieve stress? Her innocent tone belied the heated images she projected into his mind. Tristan nearly choked on his breakfast. I'm being serious. So am I. She perched on the table edge, her legs brushing his. Nexians have defensive abilities we don't advertise. I can sense hostile intentions from considerable distances. Useful for avoiding pirates. That's convenient. We evolved as a companion species, remember? Protection goes both ways. Her expression softened. Let me help you, Tristan. Not as a pet, not as a contract-bound companion, but as your partner. The word partner sent a warm thrill through him. You know this could get complicated if anyone discovers what you really are, what you're really doing here. Life is complicated. She leaned down, her lips brushing his ear. But some things are wonderfully simple. The maintenance crews chose that moment to request final signatures, forcing them to postpone their increasingly heated discussion. As Tristan dealt with the paperwork, Avala prepared the ship for departure with an efficiency that suggested she'd done this before. You've served on ships? He asked as they finally settled into the bridge. Several, though none quite like this. She took the co-pilot's seat with natural grace. None with a captain quite like you. The departure sequence initiated, and New Zenith's spaceport fell away beneath them. As they ascended through the atmosphere, Avala's collar caught the light of the rising sun, reminding Tristan of how this unlikely partnership had begun just yesterday. Having second thoughts? She asked, catching his glance. About you? No. He smiled as they broke orbit. About taking a dangerous cargo run through pirate-infested space less than 24 hours after meeting? Maybe a few. Good thing you have me to watch your back then. Her smile turned predatory. Among other things. The Iron Phoenix cruised through the crimson nebula that gave the sector its name, casting ethereal red shadows across the bridge. Tristan watched as Avala's fingers danced over the sensor controls, her movements precise and practiced. Something feels wrong, she murmured, her brow furrowing. The cargo's emission signature doesn't match standard medical supplies. Tristan leaned over her shoulder, inhaling her exotic scent. Can you be more specific? The containment fields are too strong for simple pharmaceuticals. She turned to face him, their faces inches apart. We should investigate. The cargo hold was climate-controlled and dimly lit. Tristan input his access code, and the main doors slid open with a pneumatic hiss. The sealed containers looked innocent enough, standard Coalition medical crates with appropriate markings. Avala ran her hand along one container, her eyes closing in concentration. There's something alive in here. Alive? Tristan pulled out his scanner. That's impossible. The manifest lists only synthetic antibiotics and plasma substitutes. Trust me. She pressed her palm flat against the container's surface. I can feel consciousness. Multiple consciousnesses, actually. They're in some kind of stasis. Tristan's scanner beeped, confirming unusual bioreadings. Damn it, we're transporting smuggled specimens. Not just specimens. Avala's eyes snapped open. Nexians. Young ones. In suspended animation. The revelation hit Tristan like a physical blow. Someone's trafficking your people? It would explain the high payment and rush timeline. Her fingers traced the edge of her collar. Not everyone who offers companion contracts is as honorable as stellar companions. Tristan felt rage building in his chest. We need to... The ship's proximity alarm blared, cutting him off. Unidentified vessel approaching, the AI announced. They're requesting docking clearance. Pirates? Tristan asked, already moving toward the bridge. Avala caught his arm, her touch sending a surge of urgency through their connection. Worse, I sense hunters. They're here for the cargo. They raced back to the bridge, arriving just as the comm system crackled to life. A gruff voice filled the cabin. Iron Phoenix, this is Coalition Special Operations. Prepare for boarding and inspection. Special ops, my ass, Tristan muttered, checking the weapons locker. Those credentials are faker than a Martian sunset. Avala slipped into the co-pilot seat, her fingers flying over the controls. We have options. The nebula's radiation could mask our signature if we dive deeper into... The ship shuddered as a tractor beam locked on. So much for options. Tristan tossed her a pulse pistol. You any good with one of these? She caught it with surprising skill. Better than you'd expect, but we have another advantage. Her free hand touched her collar. They'll assume I'm just a companion. They won't expect me to fight. I don't want to put you at risk. Her laugh was both musical and deadly. My dear Tristan, you didn't put me anywhere. I chose this, chose you, and I protect what's mine. The possessive tone in her voice sent heat through his body despite the danger. Through their connection, he felt her fierce determination mixed with something deeper, more primal. "We need a plan," he said, forcing himself to focus. "Already have one." She moved closer, her body pressing against his as she accessed the ship's systems. "The cargo bay's environmental controls can be overridden, if we time it right." The next few minutes were a blur of preparation. They sealed themselves in the bridge as the hostile vessel completed its docking procedure. Through the security feeds, they watched 6 heavily armed figures enter the Iron Phoenix. "They're heading for the cargo hold," Avala whispered, her breath warm against Tristan's ear. "Just a few more seconds." The moment the last intruder entered the cargo bay, she executed her plan. The environmental controls reversed violently, creating a vacuum that caught their attackers off guard. In the confusion, Tristan activated the emergency protocols, severing the docking clamp. The Iron Phoenix broke free, leaving the other ship temporarily stranded. But their troubles weren't over. "We can't deliver these Nexians to Outpost 7, Tristan said as they put distance between themselves and their attackers. "It's probably a front for the trafficking operation." "No," Avala agreed, her expression fierce. "But I know somewhere we can take them. Somewhere safe." She hesitated. "It would mean going off-grid for a while." Tristan reached over and took her hand, feeling the warmth of their connection flow between them. "I'm already off-grid. Have been since I walked into that pet shop." Her smile was radiant. "You continue to surprise me, Tristan Emers. Most humans would have turned away by now. Most humans haven't experienced what I have." He pulled her closer, their bodies fitting together perfectly. "Haven't felt what I feel." The nebula's crimson light painted patterns across her lilac skin as she pressed against him. "And what do you feel?" Instead of answering with words, he let their empathic connection speak for him. Her gasp of pleasure told him she received his message clearly. "We should set a course," she murmured against his lips. "It can wait 5 minutes." Her laugh was breathless. "Only 5? 10 then?" It was closer to 30 before they finally programmed their new destination. The Iron Phoenix dove deeper into the Crimson Nebula, its engines straining against the dense cosmic gases. Tristan's hands flew over the controls, executing evasive maneuvers as energy bolts from their pursuers lit up the void behind them. 3 vessels, Avala reported from the co-pilot seat, her eyes closed in the concentration. 2 gunships and a heavy cruiser. They're angry. Good, Tristan grinned fiercely. Angry means sloppy. A proximity alarm blared through the bridge. More company? No. Avala's eyes snapped open. One of the stasis pods is failing. We have an awakening Nexian. Tristan swore colorfully. Can you handle it? I'm a bit busy not getting us killed. I'll need to be in physical contact with them. The awakening process can be traumatic without proper guidance. She hesitated. But that means leaving you alone on the bridge. Go. He reached over and squeezed her hand, sending confidence through their connection. I've outrun worse. The moment Avala left, their pursuers seemed to sense the ship's vulnerability. The attacks became more precise, more coordinated. Tristan pushed the Iron Phoenix's engines to their limits, using the nebula's gravitational eddies to stay ahead. Meanwhile, in the cargo hold, Avala found the malfunctioning stasis pod. Inside, a young female Nexian thrashed in semi-consciousness. Her lilac skin several shades paler than normal. Avala pressed her hands against the pod's surface, establishing a telepathic link. The ship lurched violently, nearly throwing her off balance. Through her connection with Tristan, she felt his determination and... Was that enjoyment? Humans were certainly strange creatures. Easy, little one, she murmured to the awakening Nexian. I'm here to help. The pod's seals hissed as they released, and the young female, barely into adolescence, tumbled into Avala's arms. Her thoughts were chaotic, frightened. Where am I? The girl's voice was weak, her blue eyes unfocused. You're safe, Avala assured her, even as another blast rocked the ship. I'm Avala, and you're aboard the Iron Phoenix. What's your name? Luna, the girl whispered. They took me from the education center. Said they were coalition officials. Another violent maneuver sent them sliding across the deck. Avala wrapped herself protectively around Luna, cushioning their impact against a bulkhead. Avala! Tristan's voice came through the comm. Could use some of that empathic sensing up here. She closed her eyes, extending her awareness while maintaining contact with Luna. The cruiser is moving to cut us off. They're trying to herd us toward... Wait! She sensed something new. Tristan, dive. Now! The Iron Phoenix plunged just as a massive solar flare from the nebula's core erupted where they'd been moments before. One of the pursuing gunships wasn't so lucky. Its shields overloaded instantly. That's my girl. Tristan's jubilation flowed through their connection. How's our guest? Luna stirred in Avala's arms, looking up with more awareness. Is that a human? I've never met one before. Yes, and he's quite special. Avala helped Luna to her feet. Think you can walk? We need to get to the bridge. The young Nexian nodded, though she kept close to Avala as they made their way forward. When they reached the bridge, Tristan was executing a series of maneuvers that should have been impossible for a ship this size. Welcome aboard, he called over his shoulder. Sorry about the rough ride. Your previous handlers aren't taking no for an answer. Luna's eyes widened as she watched him pilot. He's magnificent, she whispered to Avala. I thought humans were supposed to be primitive. Avala laughed. They like to keep that reputation. Makes it more fun when they surprise you. Less admiring, more helping. Tristan grunted as another blast rocked the ship. These bastards brought friends. Avala slipped into her seat, leaving Luna secured in the observer's chair. 5 more ships joining the pursuit, but she smiled suddenly. They don't know about the asteroid field ahead. What asteroid field? Sensors don't show. Tristan trailed off, grinning. Your people have been busy mapping the sector, haven't they? We're thorough. She began inputting coordinates. The radiation masks the field until you're almost on top of it. Most ships avoid this region entirely. Most ships don't have a Nexian co-pilot. He threw her a heated look that sent shivers down her spine. Ready to show them why that's a mistake? The next 10 minutes were pure adrenaline as they threaded through invisible obstacles, their pursuers either falling back or meeting spectacular ends against the hidden asteroids. Luna watched in fascination as human and Nexian worked in perfect sync, their movements coordinated through their empathic bond. Finally, the last pursuing ship turned back, leaving them alone in the crimson void. Tristan sagged in his chair, exhausted but triumphant. That, he declared, was fun. Luna looked between them, her expression curious. You two are mated, aren't you? I can sense the bond. Avala felt Tristan's surprise and amusement through their connection. It's complicated, she began. No, it's not. Tristan stood and pulled her into a kiss that left her breathless. Nothing complicated about it. Luna giggled. Humans are very direct, aren't they? You have no idea, Avala murmured against Tristan's lips. The moment was interrupted by a fresh alarm, this time from the cargo hold. The other stasis pods were beginning to fail. Well, Tristan sighed, looks like our family just got bigger. The word family sent an unexpected warmth through Avala's chest. She touched her collar, its holographic tag now seeming more like a promise than a contract. I suppose you'll have to take care of all of us now, she teased. His answering smile was both tender and fierce. Wouldn't have it any other way. The Iron Phoenix's cargo hold had transformed into an impromptu dormitory for 5 awakened young Nexians. Tristan watched from the doorway as Avala moved among them, her touch calming their post-stasis anxiety. Luna, the first to awaken, had appointed herself assistant caretaker, mimicking Avala's gentle gestures with natural grace. They're so young, Tristan murmured as Avala joined him. What kind of bastards traffic children? The desperate kind. She leaned against him, her warmth seeping through his shirt. The ones who know our species is running out of time. Before he could respond, the ship's AI interrupted. Multiple coalition vessels approaching. Authentication codes appear genuine. One of the young Nexians, a male named Ash, spoke up. They're real this time. I recognize the signature pattern. My father designed their encryption protocols. Tristan raised an eyebrow at Avala. Something you want to tell me? She smiled mysteriously. These aren't ordinary refugee children, Tristan. They're the children of our world's leading scientists and officials. Their kidnapping wasn't just trafficking. It was sabotage. Captain Emers, a crisp voice came through the comm. This is Admiral Richardson of the Coalition's security force. Your vessel has been identified as carrying stolen property. Prepare for boarding. Tristan felt Avala's anger flare through their connection. Stolen property? Let me handle this. She stepped toward the comm panel, her bearing suddenly regal. "Admiral Richardson, this is Avala Nix, daughter of the Nexian High Council. Authentication code Alpha 7 Delta 9. A long pause followed. When the Admiral spoke again, his tone had changed completely. "Lady Nix, we've been searching for you since your disappearance from the diplomatic summit. My disappearance was necessary to investigate certain elements within the coalition who are profiting from my people's crisis." She caught Tristan's stunned expression and winked. "Captain Emers has been instrumental in uncovering a trafficking operation targeting Nexian youth." More silence. "We'll need to verify your claims." "Of course, permission to dock granted, but only you, Admiral. These children have been through enough trauma." After ending the transmission, Avala turned to find everyone staring at her. Luna broke the tension with a giggle. "You didn't tell him you were wearing a pet shop collar." Tristan couldn't help laughing. "A High Council daughter playing companion? Your people really are thorough in their investigations." "Actually," Avala's cheeks darkened to a deeper shade of lilac, "that part wasn't planned. I was conducting a routine surveillance of known trafficking routes when I sensed something unique about you." "Unique?" He pulled her close, enjoying the way she fit against him. "Your aura has a particular resonance. It's why these children trust you instinctively." Her fingers traced his jaw. "Why I trusted you, even before I understood why." "Get a room," Ash called out, causing the other young Nexians to laugh. "We have a room," Tristan replied with a grin. "Several, actually. You're all just in it." The docking procedure with the Coalition flagship went smoothly. Admiral Richardson proved to be a distinguished older man who took one look at the rescued Nexians and ordered an immediate secure channel to the Coalition Council. As the children gave their statements, Avala explained the full situation to Tristan in his quarters. "Our son's deterioration is accelerating," she said, curled against him on his bunk. "The High Council has been working with Coalition scientists on a solution, but there's a faction that believes we should simply relocate." "To where?" "Anywhere. Everywhere. They want to scatter our people across the galaxy using whatever means necessary." Her hand slipped under his shirt, seeking skin-to-skin contact to strengthen their connection. "Even if it means selling our children into companion contracts." Tristan caught her hand, bringing it to his lips. "But that's not your plan." "No." She straddled his lap, her eyes intense. "I believe in a different solution, one I discovered by accident in a pet shop." "Oh," his hand settled on her hips. "Humans." She kissed him deeply, flooding their connection with images of possibility. "Your species adapts so quickly, thinks so creatively. The Coalition scientists have been approaching our problem from the wrong angle. And you think I can help? I know you can." She rolled her hips, making him groan. "But first I need to tell you something important." "More important than being a secret princess?" Her laugh turned into a gasp as his hands wandered. "Remember how I said Nexians can't fake attraction? We also can't prevent certain biological responses to compatible mates." It took his lust-hazed brain a moment to process her meaning. When it did, his eyes widened. "Are you saying—" She took his hand and pressed it to her abdomen. Through their connection, he felt it. A tiny spark of consciousness, barely formed, but undeniably present. "Surprise," she whispered. "Turns out humans and Nexians are more compatible than anyone knew." Instead of panic, Tristan felt a surge of fierce joy. He rolled them over, pinning her beneath him. "So much for my simple plan to get a pet." "Disappointed?" "Avala," he growled, "I've never been happier about a shopping trip in my life." Their celebration was interrupted by the ship's AI announcing another incoming transmission, this time from the Nexian High Council itself. "Ready to meet the in-laws?" Avala asked innocently. Tristan groaned. "Can we go back to fighting pirates instead?" The holographic projection of the Nexian High Council filled the Iron Phoenix Bridge. 7 stern faces, all bearing varying shades of Avala's distinctive lilac complexion, stared down at them. Tristan stood beside Avala, trying not to fidget under their scrutiny. "Daughter?" the central figure spoke, his tone carefully neutral. "Your unconventional methods have yielded unexpected results, Father." Avala's posture was perfect, though her hand found Tristan's behind their backs. "I assume Admiral Richardson has briefed you on the situation?" "Indeed," another council member leaned forward, "though he failed to mention your condition." Tristan felt Avala's amusement through their bond. "My pregnancy is a fortunate scientific breakthrough. Human Nexian genetic compatibility could be the key to our species' survival." The council chambers erupted in overlapping conversations. Tristan caught fragments about genetic diversity and evolutionary adaptation. Through it all, Avala's father remained silent, his eyes fixed on Tristan. "And the human?" he finally asked. "Does he understand the implications?" Before Avala could answer, the ship's proximity alerts blared. Multiple vessels dropped out of hyperspace, surrounding them in the Coalition flagship. "Trafficking faction," Avala hissed, her fingers flying over the controls. "They must have infiltrators in the Coalition fleet." The first shots came from what appeared to be a Coalition cruiser, striking Admiral Richardson's flagship. The bridge dissolved into chaos as both Coalition and High Council channels erupted with alerts and commands. "Tristan!" Luna's voice came through the internal communication. "And the other children sense hostile boarders on the lower deck." "Like hell, they're getting our kids," Tristan growled, already moving. He felt Avala's surge of emotion at his use of "our." "Go," she said, her eyes bright. "I'll handle things up here." The firefight in the cargo bay was intense but brief. Tristan and the young Nexians, using their combined abilities, made short work of the infiltrators. Luna proved particularly adept at predicting enemy movements, while Ash demonstrated a surprising talent for ship systems manipulation. "Humans are so creative with violence," Luna commented, watching Tristan dispatch the last attacker with a clever use of the cargo loading mechanisms. "Only when protecting family," he replied, checking the secured hatches. The battle outside the ship continued, but with the Coalition now aware of the infiltrators, the tide was turning. Through his connection with Avala, Tristan felt her satisfaction as she coordinated with both Coalition forces and her father's ships to trap the trafficking faction. "Tristan," Avala's voice held an urgent edge. "We need you on the bridge. Now." He found her facing down a new hologram, the leader of the trafficking faction, his lilac features twisted with desperation. "Your primitive solution changes nothing," the man was saying. "Our sun still dies. Our world still burns." "You're wrong." Avala's hand went to her abdomen. "The human capacity for adaptation, combined with our own abilities. The child I carry proves we have options beyond abandoning our home." "Then you leave us no choice." The man's fingers moved over unseen controls. "If we cannot save our people our way, perhaps the Coalition will be more receptive when they're cleaning up your debris." Multiple warning alerts screamed as the enemy ships began suicide runs at both the Iron Phoenix and the Coalition flagship. Tristan threw himself into the pilot's seat, his hands becoming a blur over the controls. What happened next would later be described in Coalition records as physically impossible. The Iron Phoenix moved like no cargo ship had moved before, its maneuvers guided by the combined abilities of human intuition and Nexian perception. Each attempted ramming was avoided with seemingly precognitive precision, while Avala coordinated with the Coalition ships to disable their attackers. "Magnificent," Avala's father murmured through the still-open council channel. "Absolutely magnificent." When the last enemy ship was neutralized, Tristan sagged in his chair, exhausted but triumphant. Avala immediately straddled his lap, kissing him deeply. "You impossible, brilliant man," she breathed against his lips. "Do you have any idea how attractive you are when you defy physics?" Someone cleared their throat. The High Council was still watching. "Perhaps," Avala's father said dryly, "we should discuss these new developments in a more formal setting." Tristan felt his face heat, but Avala just laughed. "Of course, father, though I should warn you, my mate's unconventional approaches aren't limited to space combat. So we observe." The older Nexian's expression softened. "The council will convene in full to hear your proposals. Both of you." He paused. "And Tristan?" "Sir, welcome to the family. Try not to revolutionize our entire society too quickly." After the transmission ended, Avala nuzzled Tristan's neck. "See? That wasn't so bad. Your father just watched you kiss me senseless in front of the entire High Council?" Shall we give him something more to think about? Her hands wandered suggestively. Avala, the kids are being well cared for by Admiral Richardson's staff. She projected images through their bond that made his breath catch. We have time to celebrate our victory. Their celebration was eventually interrupted by Luna's amused voice over the comm. When you two are done making siblings for the baby, the Admiral would like to discuss our next steps. Tristan groaned. Is privacy even possible with telepathic children around? Welcome to parenthood. Avala laughed, adjusting her clothing. Still glad you went shopping for a pet that day? He pulled her close for one more kiss. Best purchase of my life. 5 years later, the Iron Phoenix's observation deck offered a spectacular view of the binary sunset over New Nexus. Tristan stood at the viewport, watching the transformed landscape below. Where once there had been dying fields and unstable ground, now thriving settlements stretched to the horizon, their architecture a stunning blend of human and Nexian design. Admiring your handiwork. Avala's arms slipped around his waist from behind, her touch sending familiar warmth through their bond. Our handiwork, he corrected, turning to face her. The years had only enhanced her beauty, her lilac skin now bearing the subtle shimmer of motherhood. Though I still can't believe it all started with me shopping for a pet. She laughed, the sound drawing attention from across the deck. Their 4-year-old daughter, Nova, looked up from where she was playing with her older siblings, the now teenage Luna, Ash, and the other rescued Nexians who had become their adopted children. Nova was a miracle in more ways than one. Her existence had proved that human adaptability, combined with Nexian evolution, could create something entirely new. Her hybrid genetics had provided the key to saving the Nexian species, her unique biological makeup offering solutions that neither race had considered possible. Papa, Nova called out, her skin shifting between human tones and Nexian lilac as her emotions changed, a trait unique to hybrids. Luna's teaching me to sense auras. Just don't go reading your father's thoughts, Avala called back with a wicked smile. Some things should remain private. Tristan felt his face heat as Avala projected a particularly vivid memory of their morning activities through their bond. You're terrible. You love it. She tugged playfully at the collar she still wore, now a symbol of their bond rather than a contract. Besides, I seem to recall you finding my terrible behavior quite appealing this morning. Their flirting was interrupted by the ship's ROID announcing an incoming transmission from Coalition headquarters. The holographic display showed Admiral Richardson, now significantly grayer but still sharp-eyed. Captain Emers, Lady Nix, he greeted them formally. The latest reports from the human Nexian integration projects are exceptional. The genetic therapy derived from your daughter's unique biology has been successfully implemented in the 70% of the population. And the Sun Stabilization Project? Avala asked, though her satisfied smile suggested she already knew the answer. The combined human Nexian engineering teams report complete success. The stellar degradation has been fully reversed. The Admiral's professional demeanor cracked slightly. Though I must say, using empathic abilities to communicate with a star was unexpected. Humans taught us to think beyond our limitations, Avala said, squeezing Tristan's hand. Sometimes the craziest solutions are the best ones. Speaking of crazy solutions, the Admiral continued, the Coalition Council has approved your proposal for the Deep Space Exploration Program. They're particularly interested in your theory about other compatible species. Tristan grinned. Looking to expand the family again, dear. Well, Avala purred, pressing closer. Nova has been asking for more siblings, and we do have all this experience with unconventional adoptions. Mom, Luna called out, Nova's trying to read the ship's emotional patterns again. They turned to see their youngest daughter communing with the ship's AI in a way that shouldn't have been possible, yet somehow was, like so many things about their extraordinary family. Your father's influence, Avala sighed dramatically, always pushing boundaries. Says the woman who pretended to be a pet to investigate trafficking routes. Best undercover operation ever. She kissed him deeply, ignoring their children's groans of protest. The Admiral cleared his throat. I'll leave you to your family matters. The new mission briefing will be transmitted shortly. After he signed off, Tristan gathered his family close, watching the twin suns set over their renewed world. Luna and Ash were discussing their upcoming Coalition Academy entrance exams, while Nova attempted to teach the ship's AI to play hide-and-seek. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked Avala softly. "Taking such a huge risk that day in the pet shop?" She touched her collar, then his chest, sending waves of love and contentment through their bond. "The only risk would have been letting you walk away. Though I must admit, I never expected my simple reconnaissance mission to end with a hybrid baby, 5 adopted teenagers, and a revolutionary transformation of 2 civilizations." "Don't forget the talking ship," Nova chimed in, apparently eavesdropping. "I taught her to feel happiness today." Tristan laughed, scooping up their daughter. "Of course you did, Starlight. What else would a human Nexian hybrid do with her day?" Speaking of hybrids, Avala's hand drifted to her abdomen, her eyes twinkling. "How do you feel about twins?" Tristan's jaw dropped as their bond flooded with her joy and certainty. Nova squealed in delight, obviously picking up on the news through her developing empathic abilities. "More siblings," she announced to the others, causing a cascade of excited reactions. "You're impossible," Tristan told his wife, pulling her close. "Says the man who turned pet shopping into an interstellar revolution." She nipped his ear playfully. "Face it, love, impossible is our specialty." As their family celebrated around them, Tristan reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them here. One impulsive decision to cure his loneliness had led to more adventure, love, and joy than he could have imagined. And now, with new horizons beckoning and their family growing, he couldn't wait to see what impossible things they would achieve next. "So," Avala whispered in his ear, "ready for another adventure?" Tristan kissed her in answer, and their bond singing with shared passion and promise. After all, the universe was vast, and they had a talent for finding extraordinary possibilities in unexpected places.